Sarah, do you have ability to post to Facebook to our page?
Yes, I should be. I just don't know how to do it this way.
Worst case scenario, it might be on my Facebook page. I hope I didn't just mess that up, everybody. I apologize.
I'll go look.
You should be all set, Andrea.
Is it going?
No.
Well, I'm recording for sure, and we can share it up to Facebook later, although it's better if we do it in real time. I'll show all that. Okay, well, the recording's working. So thank you for being here. Sorry about the little technical glitch. The Cash Coalition is a terrific group of agencies that works together here in Onondaga County. The Syracuse Financial Empowerment Center, which we'll probably plug a couple of times during the presentation because we do that. Jobs Plus, Lemoyne College, Cooperative Federal Credit Union, Syracuse University, Peace Incorporated, the IRS, the United Way of Central New York, UMEA, Visions Federal Credit Union, Fidelis Care, and NIDA. And we work together every year to bring free tax prep as well as other services to the community. CASH stands for Creating Assets, Savings, and Hope. And as I said, it's a group of organizations dedicated to promoting financial stability and asset building opportunities for low to moderate income families in Onondaga County. So today, Meredith Oderkirk is going to present on getting your taxes done for free with VITA and MyFreeTaxes. Meredith graduated from SUNY Potsdam in 2016. Since then, she's worked for nonprofits, including ACR Health, the YMCA of Greater Syracuse, and now she's with United Way of Central New York, where she holds her current position as Community Impact Coordinator and VITA Program Director. Meredith is currently pursuing her master's degree in public administration, yay, with a focus on economic and community development. So Meredith, thanks for being here with us, and we're going to let you take it away, and just really appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thanks, Andrea, and thanks everybody for being here. So I thought that it would be good to get started off by telling you a little bit about the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, or what we call VITA, and give you a little bit more explanation about how exactly it is that we can provide these services for free. So we are funded by the IRS to provide these services. And like Andrea mentioned, these sites are run by local organizations and nonprofits. The organizations that are running sites this year are Syracuse University, United Way of Central New York, Peace Incorporated, NIDA, and Jobs Plus through the county. So volunteers who work for this program train in tax law, they train in standards for maintaining privacy, as well as providing great service so that we can make sure that we're protecting your information and giving you the best possible tax return that we can. So all of this combined together gives us the opportunity to provide community members with free tax prep services for anyone making under $57,000 a year. So a little bit more about what the VITA program was able to achieve last year. We filed a little over 3,000 returns for Central New Yorkers. We were able to secure over $700,000 through the child tax credit, and that went to families in need. And overall, we were able to generate over $6 million in refunds. So that's money that was owed to taxpayers that stayed with taxpayers in Central New York instead of going to overpriced for-profit preparers. So let's talk a little bit about how exactly you can go about getting a VITA appointment for yourself if you would prefer to have a tax preparer prepare your return for you instead of doing it on your own. These are our sites that we have operational this year. We've got Peace Inc. This is open Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, but our hope is that we'll be able to expand hours to Mondays and Fridays soon. The way that this site is structured is meant to really protect everyone involved. With the pandemic, it's easier if we're separating people as much as possible, but we know that a virtual appointment isn't really ideal for everyone. So what you'll do here is gather your tax documents, come to the site at the time of your appointment, and what you'll actually do is drop off your information. You'll complete a really quick intake form, and then you'll wait for your return to be completed, and you'll pick up your completed return and all of your documents at a later time. The same situation is happening with NITA with that drop-off appointment structure, and it's really meant so that we just don't have people hanging out in close proximity to each other for any extended period of time. So NITA is open Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. They do their drop-off in the morning and their pickup in the afternoon. SU is a little bit different from Peace and NITA. So their appointments are facilitated self-assistance. So this is for someone who's maybe in between needing the help of a preparer to do their entire tax return, but maybe doesn't feel comfortable being on their own completing their tax return through MyFreeTaxes. So in this case with facilitated self-assistance, what you'll do is hop on either a virtual call at the time of your appointment, or you'll go to a physical location that'll have limited appointments so that everyone can safely socially distance. And you'll get on MyFreeTaxes and complete your own return. But the difference is that you'll have a certified tax preparer hanging around, making sure that they're ready to help you if you have questions that pop up while you're completing your return. So we're still waiting on SU site to be fully established. Their hours and their space are to be determined, but we will push that information out as soon as we have it. Oh, and then one more thing, Jobs Plus is temporarily closed for now, but again, once that opens up, we'll push that information out. So the way that you will create your appointment starting next Friday, February 12th, is that you'll gather your tax documents. This is the first thing you'll want to do before you even make a call. This part of the process is important so that you know what your tax return will include, and you can convey that information effectively to a 211 staffer. So you'll get everything that you need to complete your taxes together so that you have a full idea of what that return might include. And then you'll just call 211 and ask to be scheduled for a VITA appointment. Once you call 211, they're going to ask you some questions about what your taxes include so that first we can make sure that your taxes are in scope of the VITA program. And second, so that we can make sure that we're providing you with the appropriate tax preparer for your appointment. Some tax returns are a little bit more advanced than others, so we want to make sure that we have someone who's certified in advanced tax law ready for that appointment. In other cases, someone might have, if you have a health savings account, that's included under advanced. Some people are in the military and that changes how their taxes are done. So we make sure that we have someone who's certified in military taxes to assist you. So that's why they'll ask you some questions just to make sure that your appointment is the most appropriate one for you. And it looks like we went back one slide. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. Oh, just one more. So once you make that appointment with 211, they're going to work with you on not only making sure that we have the right type of tax preparer to prepare your appointment, but also that we're sending you to the most convenient place for you. So you might have noticed that NITA is on the northeast side of the city. The Peace site is on the south side of the city. So just making sure that we're getting you to the right place for your geographic location. And one other thing to note on this whole location situation is that we know that transportation might be an issue for some people, so we do have bus passes available at least for your ride home after your appointment. So the last couple of parts of your appointment is that once you are notified that your taxes, So you'll show up for your appointment, you'll bring your tax documents, and what you're going to do once you get there is do a quick intake sheet. This lets the tax preparer get all the information that they need to appropriately prepare your taxes in your absence. So once you're gone, the tax preparers are going to go through, they're going to get your return ready, and they'll notify you when it's complete so that you can come pick up. When you do your pickup, you're going to review the tax return, make sure that all the information that they have is accurate to your knowledge. You're going to sign off on it and they will submit it. And that's how easy it is. It's really a 4-step process of dropping off your tax documents, waiting, picking them back up, and making sure that all that information is correct. All right, so if you are maybe someone who's used something like TurboTax before and you feel pretty comfortable completing your own taxes virtually, or you'd like to give it a try for the first time this year, I'm going to walk you through a little bit about how that might be done. But first, let's talk about what's included in this software. So what you can see here is probably included in anything that the average person has for their tax return. There's no income limit, no age limit on MyFreeTaxes. So for most people, anything that they might need to file is included in this software. It's very, very similar to what you might see in a for-profit paid software. So the first step that you're going to do is, again, gather your documents, get everything together. And what I'll be walking you through is actually what this process looked like for me when I prepared my own taxes earlier this week on MyFreeTaxes, because I don't just advertise this. I really think it is the easiest way to prepare your taxes if you have a simple tax return, and it's absolutely the cheapest because it's free. I see Taisha waving her hand because anyone who's used it agrees this really is one of the easiest ways to get it done. So for me, gathering my documents, this looked like getting my W-2 together, getting my tuition statement together, and getting my student loan interest statement. When I have used TurboTax in the past, each part of this past my W-2 cost me, I believe, an extra $40. And we'll get to the point at the end of this where I can show you what it gave me for cost of fees and services, which was $0. So before we move on, a note about gathering your tax documents together. A lot of people received unemployment benefits for the first time this year. So something to note, if that includes you, is that you will not get your tax documents sent to you by the Department of Labor. You're going to need to go into the web portal that you use to claim your benefits, and then you'll get your tax document from there. So it's kind of on you to pick it up and make sure that you're including it in your tax return. So the very first step after you've gathered your tax documents together, you sit down, you're ready to go, is to go to myfreetaxes.com. So what you'll see is these 3 options that are in the first window furthest to the left over here. You'll see I'd like to prepare my taxes by myself, with assistance, or I'm not sure. By myself is what you're going to click on to be able to get your TaxSlayer link. If you select with assistance, it'll just refer you to a VITA appointment, which could be helpful for you if maybe you aren't sure. It'll send you to the site locator through the IRS, which doesn't just send you to sites within the Onondaga County Cash Coalition. It sends you to the sites that are throughout the country because this is a really large program. If you're not sure, it'll give you a little bit of help in deciding whether maybe you want to prepare your taxes yourself or if you would like an appointment. So if you do select by myself because you're sure that you want to do your taxes on TaxSlayer, you're going to get this middle window that says tell us about yourself. So you're going to put your name in as well as your zip code. The zip code is to make sure that the right cash coalition is getting credit for your return. Like I mentioned, we're funded by the IRS. So every time you complete your taxes through MyFreeTaxes or through a VITA appointment, we are able to continue getting funding for providing these services to the community. You'll also put in your email. So that's how you're going to be sent the link. Once you add all this together, press sign up, you're going to get this window furthest to the right. It's letting you know that because of certain laws related to tax preparation, TaxSlayer cannot send you a link directly. through, or they can't post their link to a website. They're going to have to send it to you directly via email. So within an hour for me, I think it was like 30 minutes, which was enough time for me to get another cup of coffee and snuggle in to do my taxes. You're going to get a link that will send you to TaxSlayer. So once we get back to the slides, I'll show you what that email will look like when it comes in for you and where you'll be sent. And I think while we're waiting is a really good time. I realized I kind of flew through the VITA appointment making. So if anyone has a question about VITA appointments right off the bat, so no, you can't call 211 to schedule an appointment prior to the 12th. It's starting on the 12th because we're still getting our calendars in order and we want to make sure that your appointments are really all set to be kept and are all organized before we get anybody on paper down. Perfect. Thank you, Andrea. So let me see. So this first window that you see all the way over to the left, this MyFreeTaxes email, is what you're going to get in your email within the hour. So you're going to go click File Now, and it'll bring you to this window that you see to the right. Welcome to the TaxSlayer VITA TCE Self-Prep Kiosk. So this is just telling you that there are no electronic filing fees, no income limitations, etc. And you're going to go ahead and press Continue. So what you'll do first is just create your TaxSlayer account. If you've ever prepared your taxes in TaxSlayer, you might just have to log in, but for most people, this looks like creating a new account. So you're going to put your information in. I do recommend, similar to what they put in the website, including your telephone number, just so that you can get text reminders, especially now. Most people know this, but just in case, the IRS actually postponed when they're accepting tax returns. So you can go ahead on this website right now and complete your return, but they're going to hold on to it until February 12th, and that's when they'll file. That's when the IRS is opening up to accept returns. So I think especially with this postponement, it's really helpful to get that extra reminder from this service to know exactly where your taxes are at, if they've been approved by if they've been approved federally, if they've been approved by the state, so you know when to expect your return. So you'll see this success notice that your account's been completed and you're going to continue through the process. So this first thing that you're going to get is your consent form. You can read through the language. It's really easy. It's really simple. They're not trying to sneak anything past you here, and it really does include everything that you need to know. I think it took me about 5 minutes to read through all of it and totally understand every part of it. Really, what they're asking for here is permission to share your information with the IRS. Even if they're sharing it with the IRS, even a government entity, they need your express permission to be able to actually e-file this for you. So that's what they're asking for here. You're going to opt into permission for e-file even after you opt in for this permission. You won't have your information shared with anyone else that you're not opting in for. So then you're going to start your tax return. You're going to put in your information. If you're married filing jointly, you're going to put in your spouse's information as well. As you're going through the tax return, if you have dependents, you'll be putting in their information as well as you go through. So this is a really helpful thing that will show up throughout your return. It's right up in the corner to the left. Yeah. And it's this number to call if you have troubles. I actually did call this number because I had a question and I thought it would be good to be able to experience it for you and be able to speak on whether or not it was helpful. And it really was helpful. I think I was on hold for about 5 minutes. When you consider the vast breadth of the VITA program and MyFreeTaxes, it really is like a pretty quick response time, I think. I ended up figuring out the answer to my question pretty quickly into my call. And honestly, it was kind of a silly question. If I had looked a little harder, I probably would have gotten the answer, but he was really patient with me, super helpful. So I absolutely recommend using this service if you run into troubles when you're preparing your tax return. Everyone answering is also certified in tax law and able to answer your questions. So this is continuing in your return. You're going to answer these specific questions. And this really brings me to something else that's really helpful about this service, similarly helpful to what you might see on a paid preparation service online. they're going to bring you through really everything that could increase your return, could get you extra credits. And that's a lot of what these questions ask. So you want to make sure that you are reading everything fully, going through everything, and just really considering whether or not this information applies to you. So here's another really great thing that this software helps you do. I know that I file single. I know that that's how I'm supposed to file, but just in case I wanted to test all of this out for you. So I went through the filing status wizard just in case you're not sure how you're supposed to file. And it came up with single as well. Really, a lot of what the software is going to do for you is take all of this tax language that might be a little bit unsure for you and ask you questions, the answers to which you are going to know, and then they'll help you connect that with the information that they're privy to. Things like, were you married before December 31st, 2020? You're going to know the answer to that question, right? So it takes a little bit of the confusion out of, am I single? Am I the head of my household? Things like that. It really walks you through it easily. All right, so this is another new thing this year. Because of the economic impact payments, the IRS wants to make sure that everyone got the full amount that they were supposed to. So it's also going to ask you if you received the first or second stimulus payment, if you haven't received it at all. For me, I received both stimulus payments, so I selected that. After I did that, it asked me how much I received, and I was able to put that in. I received my stimulus payments without a hitch. It was the correct amount that I was supposed to receive. But if you didn't, maybe maybe you were supposed to get a $500 child credit that you didn't get, the IRS wants to know so they can make sure that they add that to your return and that you get the appropriate amount of money.
So Meredith, are we paying taxes on our stimulus? Is that correct?
I did not have any taxes added to my stimulus at all. No. Or I'm sorry, added to my return from the stimulus. Nope. It's not taxed. That is a good question, Andrea. Thank you. I know there was a lot of confusion about that out there for a while.
I'm really glad to know. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think every time you search for the answer, you get a really convoluted response. So for me, the way that I knew for sure is that I saw my tax return and it wasn't taxed. So we're going to go forward just a couple more. One more. Perfect. Okay. So here's the other really great thing about this software. And I know that I keep saying this, but you are going to have the option either to quick file. If you're a person who's filed your taxes yourself before, nope, I've got a W-2 and that's it. That's all I need to do. I'm going to search for the W-2. I'm going to be done with it. Then you can do quick file. If you aren't sure exactly what forms you need to fill out, again, they're going to ask you questions, the answers to which you will absolutely know and make it a little easier. They're going to pull up those forms for you directly without you having to go search for them or knowing that that's the exact form that you need. So for me, one of my only forms was a W-2, but it'll bring you to this income. Really what I wanted to show you here is that, again, if you're a person who's pretty confident about filing your return, you get this really great side column here where you can toggle through all your options really easily. If you're not sure about something, you want to go back to it, you can skip forward, you can come back later. I really do think that the software is super user-friendly and it's really convenient to use. All right, so like I mentioned, the other great thing is that they're going to try to get you all of the credits that they possibly can. For me, I don't qualify for an earned income tax credit, but I did go through to just answer all the questions, see how simple it was, and it really is. Same thing for child and dependent care credits, other family deductions. I went through the whole wizard that helps me find which credits that I might be eligible for. And I have to tell you that I was eligible for the lifetime learning credit. And it bumped up my return, which was $15 to $1,221. So it's very, very helpful for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm not an accountant. I wouldn't have thought lifetime learning credit. That's the one that I apply for. So that's another really helpful thing. And I'm sure for a lot of people with children, with dependent care, you're going to get a lot of these credits back, and it'll help you find them for sure. All right, so I just wanted to show you a couple of the other things that it'll bring you through really easily. Some of the payments and estimates that you might have on your taxes, and your deductions guide as well. So this is another really helpful thing. If there are things that would deduct the amount of taxable income you have, if you donated to charity, that's an amount of your income that is no longer taxable. So it's really helpful to make sure that you're including all of these deductions if they're relevant for you, and it's really going to bring you through and help you decide whether the customary deduction might be better for you, or if an itemized deduction is really good and will be advantageous for you or more appropriate for you. It's going to help you figure those things out. And you're going to go through your health insurance questionnaire. This one, again, is really easy. It's not like you have to input a lot of information. For me, I have health insurance through work, so I just put no, and that was that. So once you finish your federal return, you're also going to be able to complete your state return. When you go through your state return, it's also going to be a really quick process. A lot of that information that you put in for your federal return is just going to roll right over. All right, so this is one of the last windows that you're going to see. You're going to get a summary of your whole tax return. Again, you're responsible for all of the information that's in your return, similar to when you go for VITA. There are obviously, a lot of fail safes to really help you make sure you're doing this right. But at the end of the day, you want to go through and make sure that all of your information is correct. And you'd be in the same boat with a paid preparer as well. So then you will get to your products and services. I'm not sure when this number would be anything other than 0. As you can see, for me, it was 0. I can't really think of a customary tax situation where it wouldn't be. You can see under the tax situations that are covered free of charge, that's really everything that's on your common tax return. So then you're going to go to ready to file. I was done with my return. I was ready to file. I selected yes, and I continued. And that was really as easy as the process was. The next slide is just going to be me showing you guys what the email that you'll look like will get. It was also a placeholder for me to remember to tell you that the IRS won't accept your return until February 12th. But they communicate that to you as well. So they let you know that they're going to be filing it, that they'll be in contact with you. And that's pretty much the process. As long as you have all your documents together, it can be really, really easy. It's free. And a lot of the time they'll find things for you that you might not find. I also, in my experiences before I was part of the Cash Coalition and before I started filing on MyFreeTaxes, I also went in person to H&R Block once. I definitely was not asked about as many credits, I think, as a lot of this software is able to get you, and you're able to take the time on your return that you really want to give it all the thought that you mean to, and you're not trying to hurry out of an office or anything like that. So this is my contact information. I am opening this up to anyone who has questions about taxes. I am not an advanced certified tax professional, so I can't answer your questions about taxes, but I can refer you to anyone who would be helpful. I can help you get an appointment. I can help you navigate the software. And I am also still looking for any volunteers who might be interested in contributing to this really awesome program. We do not usually take virtual volunteers, but in trying to keep this program as safe as possible for the public and for the people working in the program, we're taking virtual volunteers as well. So if you have some time on your hands, you want to bulk up your resume or just learn a new skill, you can reach out to me. All of the training is online. You're able to do it on your own time. We'll still be accepting volunteers throughout the month of February. So feel free to reach out if you're not sure yet. You want to hear more about what it entails, I'd be happy to talk with you.
Meredith, thank you so much. I've learned a lot, and seeing as when I'm one of the trained tax preparers, I think it's good that I've learned a lot. A couple of us are on the call. We always have to brush up our skills each year anyways. So does anyone else have any questions? I know we've got someone who just put something in the chat. Let's,
Yes.
Tina's asking, is using the Tax Slayer program totally free to file returns?
Absolutely. I know that that's kind of suspicious because I've been on a lot of online filing where it's like, yeah, it's free until you put in something a little more complicated, like your student loan interest payment. And suddenly it's $60 to add that form and it's $40 to e-file. Like you saw, my return was entirely free. Most things that are included in a typical tax return situation are free. Like I said, I can't really think of a situation unless you have very complicated taxes where it wouldn't be. So yeah, it's free.
Is that is it available for people of any income bracket, did you say, or do you have to
Yeah, there's no income limit for filing for free through TaxSlayer.
That's terrific. Other questions?
I know, Meredith, one thing that if you want a direct deposit, I've had some folks ask, what they need to do to make sure that they, it goes to the right account or whatever. So just a reminder to folks too, if you make an VITA appointment, make sure you bring, if you want a direct deposit, bring your bank account information. I had a couple of folks that asked when they called.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Taisha. And the same thing is what you'll need on MyFreeTaxes if you want a direct deposit, just your bank routing number and your account number.
Shannon has a question. Shannon, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. I figured it would be easier to ask it rather than type it. Thank you so much for that presentation. I definitely learned a lot, and congrats on that lifetime learning credit or whatever it was called.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I wish that I would have known that a couple of years ago. And my question is, in terms of the differences between going in for an appointment and using the online system, it seems like what you walked us through, there's kind of like an educational component to it. If an individual goes to an appointment and has it done that way, is that component kind of lost in terms of just like educating the individual and empowering them to be able to do this in the future on their own? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that I'm gonna have one foot in and one foot out on the answer to that. In a typical tax year, what you will experience in your VITA appointment is sitting down with your tax preparer and they verbally walk you through everything that they're doing. With the drop-off structure that we're doing to try and keep things a little more socially distanced and safe, you're not really going to have that same face-to-face component. But I would say that if you were to call any tax site and ask like, hey, I saw this on my tax summary return or on my tax return summary, would you mind just telling me a little bit about why that is that way, or what I should do differently in the future, anything like that? They'd be happy to help you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I know one for people. I've had a few questions. They're struggling to find their social security cards, which I know we've made as a pretty large requirement. So what do they do if they can't find it, if it's lost, or along those lines?
That is a good question. I'm gonna actually defer to Taisha. What would be your site's what would your site do if that was something that was being experienced?
I'm going to actually defer to Sarah. I think I haven't had one yet, but I
send them to peace, right?
I know the procedures to get a temporary card. And I'm deferring to Sarah because she might have the details on doing that. I didn't quite catch the details on that, but that definitely is a question that has come up. And or if I had a guy who called today who said that his license ID was expired, and I said I need an up-to-date card.
Yeah. So unfortunately, when asked that question, we do need that physical piece of paper. It's required to us through our training. So a lot of what I do is I tell people, I send them to I believe it's City Hall, or no, not City Hall. It's
the county office building.
Sorry. Thank you. The county office building, to call them and request that they get their social security.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. The federal building.
Yeah. Okay.
Security. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Federal building.
Federal building. So go to the federal building that you'll find near your area and request that you get a new social security card. It's not an easy process, but we really do require that if you're going to do your taxes in person.
What I'll add too is that Sarah put an important addendum on that. If you're going to do your taxes in person, if you do it through MyFreeTaxes, you don't have to have your social security card on you. You need to know your social security number, and you will need to have up-to-date state or federally issued ID and have all of the information on that ID ready to input into MyFreeTaxes. But you won't need a physical social security card.
So one tip I do, and it's not helpful if you don't have your card now and you have to go get one, but I keep all of my family's social security cards together in an envelope in a fireproof safe, like a small fireproof safe. I only pull them out when I absolutely need them, and I don't carry my social security card in my wallet.
Meredith, can I just mention that if people need a social security replacement card, they can actually do that through ssa.gov.
Okay.
They have to create an account, but then they can go and request a new social security card through that website rather than going to the federal building. Because I don't know what the accommodation is right now at the federal building, but that would be one way to do that.
Thanks,
Thank
Linda.
you, Linda.
Yep.
Hello, this
questions?
is Tina. I'm sorry to interrupt. I had one quick question before you move forward. I am thinking that I would like to use I think I'm competent enough to do the taxes with facilitated assistance through SU. Like following this call, how would I get in contact with them to find out, like the hours, location, and all that other information?
So the holdup with SU is that we're waiting for their legal team to approve everything that comes with being a VITA site. So we're sort of in limbo at the moment. But I would say you're really safe calling 211 by, I would say February 17th. We'll probably have a lot more of those dates nailed down. Or we'll know whether or not at least what a opening date might look like if you can't make an appointment right at that time, when you should call back. And what I'll note about it is that having that MyFreeTaxes helpline is a lot like being at a facilitated self-assistance site. It's just that there isn't a physical person there with you in the room or on chat for you to raise your hand and immediately say, hey, I have this question that I'm not sure. You can call back to that helpline as many times as you want if waiting for SU to open is a little bit troubling. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I actually have a second question, and then I promise that'll be it. I see on the presentation at the top, it's noted Financial Fridays series. Are there what other courses are you guys offering? That may be too far off topic. And how do you find out about it?
So we've had several Financial Fridays already. I think we started in November, and it's going to be the first Friday of the month, each month. We've done a couple on credit scores. Taisha, do you want to tell us about the upcoming programs? Because you're the pro.
Sure. Meredith can help me as well. So we've had one on FICO scores, debt. We've also had identity theft. We've had this month we're doing VITA and Financial Fridays. Next month we're doing COVID in your finances. And I know there's a slide for that if you'd like to flip through, Andrea. The Financial Empowerment Center is a great resource for folks to get help with coaching and just general advice on budgeting, household budgeting and such. And they offer great services to folks free of charge again, and a great service. And in March, we will have Mary Margaret O'Hara from the Financial Empowerment Center. And she's going to be talking about upcoming, like the eviction moratoriums coming up, like student loan deadlines are coming up, what to do about food insecurities, like where, like local resources for things that might help you during COVID to help you with your household budget and just making sure things are intact. And then going outwards, we haven't finalized our schedule for sure, but in April, we're going to revisit this just to make sure folks have an opportunity before the end of tax season to, oh my God, I need to get my taxes done. So Meredith will be joining us again in April to walk through this. So if you know anybody who could benefit from this, please join us again in April, again, first Fridays. And then going forward, we'll have things like couponing. What's another one, Meredith?
I actually have Trello pulled up right now. So another one we were planning to do tentatively is home headquarters with home improvements and some tips about how you can get that financed and things like that. I know that we had talked about getting a budgeting webinar from the same person who will be doing couponing. So I think that's about as far as we've got planned out right now.
So if you're interested in the series, the NITA Facebook page will post the events in advance, and you can register that way. If you're not already on the NITA weekly e-blast, you can go to our website, nehda.org, and subscribe to that. We usually just email once a week. It's usually really short. And it gives information about Northside activities, NITA activities, but also these kinds of workshops and some of the work the Cash Coalition is doing. And so obviously we'd love to have you sign up for that, or just keep track of our Facebook page.
Perfect. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Any other questions? Oh, Sarah put the Facebook page and our NITA's website in the chat. Thanks, Sarah.
Good.
I'm going to just take a minute and plug the Financial Empowerment Center again, because it's an amazing service. The city has sponsored this. There are 4 or 5 counselors. When there's in-person meetings, their offices are throughout the city, including one at NITA. But they're doing all their appointments virtually right now. I have gone through the service. It's for anyone who lives in the city with any income level. And I think regardless of your financial situation, you can benefit from their advice. They run a credit report. They have you take a look and analyze that, see where some issues are. You get to set your own goals with your counselor. They help you set up a budget if you haven't already done so. They talk about savings. They talk about all sorts of different elements of your own financial health and wellness. They may educate you, or if it's something that you already know, they might just help you hone your own goals and inspire you to do a little better. Oh, Miranda, yeah, it is city limits, the actual city limits for the Financial Empowerment Center. I honestly don't know if they have exceptions to that or not, but it's a city funded program. The grant goes through the city. Mary Margaret O'Hara at the city or Jenna McClave at home headquarters would be able to answer that more clearly, but my understanding is you do need to be a city resident.
Thank you. My dogs have been barking, so I've been staying on mute.
Fine. Other questions? We've got at least one more chat here. You want? Is there another slide?
I think so, for Mary Margaret.
Oh, thanks, Taisha. You can tell me out loud. It's okay. Okay, so yes, so this is our next one, which is March 5th at noon. And again, we'll be posting the link up on NITA's Facebook page. And is that the end of the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Meredith, thank you. This was really helpful and I think empowering. I think taxes scare people, right? And when I was like in my 20s, I was like, oh yeah, no problem, I've got that. But now my life has gotten more complicated. And I think sometimes you feel like you do need someone else to kind of help you through things. At NITA, we're glad to be part of the VITA program. We're glad these resources are available, but it's great to know there's that free online service through TaxSlayer as well. I think it's the most important thing, especially for those of you who work with community members, to let this information get out there, really promote the information. People are falling prey to, what's the word I'm looking for? Scams and, you know, getting charged for things they don't need to pay for. And you shouldn't have to pay a big bill to file your taxes. So.
Right. I agree. I think that empowerment piece is really big, and taxes are kind of made complicated unfairly. You're trying to get your money back that you're owed. So in many cases. So I think it's really great for people to get the experience of figuring out that you can file your own taxes. You really can do it. And I like running this program because I've made the couple of mistakes that there are to make. I have paid someone at H&R Block $200 to file my tax return that included 2 W-2s and a student loan interest payment. I've spent $100 on TurboTax trying to get my taxes done, and I never had to do those things. And this is a resource that's available. It's funded by your community. It's funded by your tax dollars. So everyone really should be using it and taking advantage of the opportunity.
Both of those things have happened to me too, Meredith. Tax returns, and I moved to Rochester. I went to H&R Block and they charged me $185. And then I remember getting all the way through TurboTax, and I got to the end and they told me it was free. And then they're like, you owe like $27. And I was like, wait,
To
what?
print it, right? They're like, oh, you want to print this out.
Yeah,
and
print
you
it,
have to pay
yeah.
it.
And I was like,
Really?
wait, what happened to the free part?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, listen, if people do have questions, you know how to get a hold of Meredith at United Way. You can get a hold of Taisha, Sarah, or myself at NITA. And hope you have a good month. And we'd love to see everybody back on March 5th with Mary Margaret. And just really appreciate you're taking time out of your day. Get outside before winter comes back.
The sun's out.
All righty. I'm gonna hit
Thanks,
stop
Andrea.
on record. Meredith, thank you. You've been terrific. We're gonna bring you back. So and thanks for all the work you do for Cash Coalition. I mean, you really help keep that group together and help keep things moving forward.
Thanks, Andrea. I owe it all to Taisha. So she's the one who keeps us on point.
All
All
right.
right. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you.